Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Tuesday. It is the 20th of May, 2025. Today is day 592 since October 7th of 2023. I wonder if perhaps the world might be finally waking up to the reality that people are starving in Gaza. In a joint statement, the leaders of the UK, the United Kingdom, France, and Canada yesterday threatened further concrete actions in response to Israel if they do not cease the renewed military offensive and lift its restrictions on humanitarian aid entering into Gaza. The three countries strongly oppose the expansion of Israel's military operations in Gaza, and they find that the amount of aid that was allowed into the territory, which was 5 trucks yesterday, wholly inadequate, saying that the country's failure to assist the Gazan civilian population is unacceptable and risks breaching international humanitarian law. I think that's quite the understatement, personally, but Israel must engage with the United Nations to ensure a return to the delivery of aid in line with humanitarian principles. That's what those three countries said in a statement. In the U.S., Vice President Vance skipped today's trip to Israel. It was a potential trip due to the expansion of the military operation in Gaza. This is according to a U.S. source who added that Vance did not want the trip to suggest that the Trump administration endorses Israel's latest actions, speaking specifically of the military expansion in the Gaza Strip. Vance told reporters that logistics were the reason why he did not travel to Tel Aviv. Related to Iran, the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has called the U.S. demand that Tehran stop enriching uranium excessive and outrageous, and doubted whether the nuclear talks would lead to results. That was according to Iran's state media. The Houthis in Yemen yesterday announced that they have called for a maritime blockade on the Haifa port in Israel. This is in response to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. I talked about that extensively yesterday. And Jordan recently returned 17 children, Palestinian children, and their caregivers to Gaza after the children had received medical treatment in the Jordanian kingdom. The families of the children have reported. While a Jordanian official said that Jordan will not allow the displacement of Palestinians outside of Gaza, human rights experts have warned that returning the children to a war zone might also be a possible violation of international law. Recent Gaza ceasefire talks in Doha have not led anywhere due to fundamental differences between the parties being Hamas and the Israeli government. That was the Prime Minister of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. He said that today. That was reported by Reuters. And 91 people in Gaza were killed yesterday on Monday, according to an official from the Civil Defense Agency in Gaza, saying that the Palestinian civilians, 91 people were killed in strikes and attacks throughout Monday, as Israel has increased their incursion in the Palestinian territory of Gaza. The deaths have been recorded since the early hours of Monday. The office earlier had reported that 52 people had died. Later, that number was increased to 91. Yesterday, 5 aid trucks entered into Gaza. 9 were approved. Only 5 were allowed into the territory, but they had not yet reached any of the communities as of this morning, according to the UN Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief. Tom Fletcher said that this morning. The UN reported that they fear that 14,000 babies might die in the next 48 hours in Gaza if aid supplies do not reach them. They cited assessment by teams on the ground that was reported by BBC News and the Associated Press. Israeli strikes overnight killed at least 60 people in Gaza. They hit family homes and a school that was turned into a shelter. In just 30 minutes, at least 38 people were killed during those attacks. Israel issued evacuation orders for Gaza's second largest city, Khan Yunis, as an example. It was said that Israel would take over all the areas of Gaza and has allowed minimal aid into the territory after Israel's backers in the U.S. Senate said extreme hunger in Gaza could affect their continued support for Tel Aviv. Netanyahu said that one of the reasons for allowing humanitarian assistance into Gaza was that hunger in Gaza could affect the efficacy of the military campaign. The UN today did announce that they got clearance today for more than 100 aid trucks to be allowed into the Gaza Strip, though the first supplies that entered in weeks still remain under Israeli control. International humanitarian experts warned of a looming famine in the Palestinian enclave. Again, the population there is about 2.3 million people. Yesterday's 5 trucks that were allowed in were the first in 11 weeks since the blockage of aid supplies. Today, it was reported that 93 aid trucks were allowed into the Gaza Strip. This was today, Tuesday, because of international pressure and because of the need for immediate steps to be taken to alleviate the suffering, the hunger of the people in Gaza. Later on today, the Defense Ministry in Israel for the Coordination of Government Activities in the Territories, COGAT, announced that 93 UN trucks that were carrying humanitarian assistance were actually allowed into the Gaza Strip. They were carrying reportedly flour for bakeries, food for babies, medical equipment, and pharmaceutical drugs. The aid underwent an inspection first by Israeli authorities and then crossed through the Kerem Shalom crossing. As I mentioned, it was reported in numerous outlets, also The Guardian, that 14,000 babies could die if aid did not reach them, that the 5 trucks that were allowed in yesterday was just a drop in the ocean. It followed the Director General of the World Health Organization saying yesterday that 2 million people were starving in the Gaza Strip and that tons of food is being blocked by the Gaza border. What else is the UN saying about Israel's aid blockade that has been in place since March 2nd. A UN-backed report recently estimated that 1 in 5 people in the Gaza territory were facing starvation, that everyone in Gaza is hungry, and that food aid had to be allowed in. What's the latest with Israel's ongoing bombardment? Gaza's Civil Defense Agency said that there were at least 44 people killed in Gaza today. Al Jazeera reported that Israeli forces bombed a pharmaceutical laboratory and that hundreds of people have been killed within the last week, many of them women and children. Back in the United States, the Trump administration first approached Qatar to inquire about buying a luxury jet that could be used as Air Force One. This was after Boeing told the Pentagon that it would not be able to deliver its custom new planes for another 2 years. The source's timeline contradicts Trump's claim that Qatar reached out to the Trump administration to offer the jet as a gift. A federal judge yesterday blocked the Trump administration's attempt to fire the U.S. Institute of Peace's president and board members and to transfer the assets of the institute. This ruling said that the president exceeded his authority and that USIP's leadership was fired unlawfully. And it also said that they should be reinstated. I wanted to finally share an opportunity that I wanted to be extended to all of you. There is an event that will be held in the Chicago area coming up in September 11th to 13th. It's an event called Church at the Crossroads. It will be a national gathering. It's co-hosted by Christ at the Checkpoint. I'll be speaking there. It's being hosted at Park View Community Church in Glen Ellen, Illinois, September 11th to 13th. This powerful event will feature familiar faces, previous speakers from Christ at the Checkpoint, including Palestinian Christian theologians and pastors, alongside a lineup of incredible voices, pastors, theologians, and peacemakers from North America and beyond. We'll have the opportunity to worship together, to have prophetic reflection, and a bold call to costly discipleship. So you can go online to learn more about those conferences and speakers, confronting theologies that are harmful, seeking to rediscover the gospel of Christ and the kingdom, to stand in faithful, loving solidarity with those who are seeking peace and justice in the land. Early bird registrations opened through May 31st. So I wanted to be sure to let you know about that in case you'd like to register and consider joining us in Chicagoland in mid-September. May God continue to go before us. May there be food for all who are hungry in Gaza or wherever they may be in the world. In the name of Christ, amen.